All right.
We're set?
All right. Good. All right. We're good to go.
Good deal.
Thank you. Oh, and we got the timer going.
Wow. Last week we were a little long-winded, so they were like, "Oh, you gotta keep it under 59 minutes."
I think it was me.
We were just having fun.
We were having fun.
It was so great.
Well, it was a lot of polls.
Oh, yeah, we did.
And a lot of questions. Oh, my gosh. And that's, we started going through all of those questions, and it was crazy.
Yeah, we had, we've been compiling all of our, like I said, all the questions that we've gotten from all the different shows. And it's been kind of fun just to look through them. And I'm like, wow, these are really great questions. You guys are awesome.
You guys are awesome. And thank you for joining us. If you're the first time here, this is a no-holds-barred questions Q&A session with Dr. Jon. And we're going to answer all your questions today on Hemp Startup 101.
Hemp Startup 101. This is what we do.
This is what we do.
It is what we do. We put people into business.
We have questions. I mean, I'm on the phone all day, all night. I mean, all around the world, answering questions on people starting up.
Investors have questions, farmers have questions, people who want to buy CBD oils have questions. So it's a really great topic. We haven't covered it before, but we're going to cover it in kind of not in super detail, but we'll go into some of the process.
And we have a lot of resources on extraktLAB.com, extraktLAB.com. Lots of calculators for startup. Lots of checklists in our blog, everything. So there's several startup facilities checklists. We got 7 questions to answer, hemp-startup-questions. That's really cool. We've got estimated yearly cost calculators, revenue cost and investment calculators.
A couple of things that happened this week. Okay. They're on live now are our product tours. Okay. There's 2 different options. One can do self-guided tour, which is basically you highlight and feature on a piece of equipment, and you can tell, okay, this is why you'd use this equipment. And then at the very top of our website, there's a live tour, and you can interact with our bot to basically schedule
big green
us.
Button.
Yeah, exactly.
This is easy.
Yeah, so if you want to see an extractor in operation or see an extractor ask questions, push that button and we can get you out and going.
And we have the same thing with evaporation and distillation as well?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
you can pick the piece of equipment and we'll go through it. It's a really short, but it's live. We use our phones, so it's nothing's like super edited and professional, but we just there we are, and we got the phones. We're standing in front of it, answering questions, taking you through it.
So that's extraction, wipe film, and falling film technologies explained using our products that we have, which are phenomenal. So thank you. If you are here for the first time, thank you for being here. And if you get bounced or get locked up, hit the red button as the refresh. It does not take you out. It just keeps you right there. It just refreshes your screen. You don't have to log out and log all back in, unlike other webinar podcast places.
Right.
This is good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and we do have, keep asking questions. Introduce yourself in the chat, please. Questions are already coming in. Thank you for that.
By the way, on the chat, I know we're taking a little time, but we have a lot of people interacting with the chat under my name. So there's a bunch of people there. So just,
Really?
Yeah.
I am so disappointed. I thought you were cloned. I was thinking like there's multiple of you.
Well, whatever. We have to log in, and that's the way it works.
Is your middle name Sybil?
No.
No.
No, why did Sybil win something?
No, actually Tim Brubaker won.
Oh, right.
He's an extractor out of Hesperia, California.
All right.
They use CO2.
Sweet.
And he was active on our social media page.
All right.
So Jared randomly selected him to be harassed and receive a care package with a hat, shirt, and all sorts of other goodies.
Sweet.
So the more you engage on social, on our calculators, on our page, like us, YouTube, everything, engage because Jared's always looking. He's, he's in the shadows looking for you to give you an award. So do that. Good. Lots of resources. We still have the live tour, the CBD Jam sessions. We've got the live demos now, which is very cool.
Yeah.
You were very excited about that.
Oh, I was really excited because we were doing our live demos. I mean, it's really cool. Somebody clicks on there, they book me or they book one of the guys. Maybe a couple days out, but you get something right there, real time.
Yeah, you could get Q, Eli, myself, or Dr. Jon, and you're in for a treat because you might randomly be selected by Dr. Jon if he has time.
Every now and then.
You're kind of a busy guy.
Yeah, but I like doing that.
And prolific.
I like doing the tours.
And inventive.
I really like doing the tours. Did I mention that?
He really loves doing the tours.
Okay, because it's, kind of the baby, my little babies, and look at this one. It looks so good.
He does. I think that's good.
They're all good looking.
All right. So thank you for being here. We're good. What else? This is a fun and safe place. So ask all your questions. Introduce yourself in the chat, please. And you will be engaged with by Dr. Jon, but it's mostly by our whole team.
Yeah.
So we're all good. So thank you for being here. Hemp 101, Hemp Startup 101.
Yeah.
Those are actually the most questions we've gotten have to do with each stage in the process.
Right.
And so what we thought would be great is just to start with receiving and the raw material all the way through packaging and just touch on each element of that for you and then ask your questions as we go, and we'll try to answer them online, and we'll build them into our future FAQs also.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
So sounds good. Let's get going.
You're on.
All right. Hemp Startup 101, basically. All right. So, when you first started getting into a business, you want to know, is the view worth the climb?
Am I going to make money? Revenue, profit?
Is there a statue in the marble? The answer is usually not. You really have to work there to get there. So blood, sweat, and tears. I think we've talked about this before on a different podcast.
Absolutely.
And of course, it's worth it, but you gotta be able to put the amount of time and the work, and you gotta have be self-motivated inside of you to really want it, because it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And initially it's a lot of work. And unfortunately, most people in business stop before they get to the finish line. And it is a tough row. But if you understand the why and where you are in each of these processes, don't stop. We're here to help you, to cheer you on, to come along, answer your questions. Let's go.
Let's talk about how big this market is going to be in the next, 5 to 10 years.
Okay. OMG. Is that a key word?
Yeah.
OMG.
Well, look, this is the reason. This is what's animating a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's ups and downs in every market. Okay, and there's gluts. People are trying to figure out, why the supply is, who's going to do the supply, who's going to be the main supplier. All these things. We're really at the nascent stages of the market. It's a rather small market, even though it's well over $1 billion, well over $1 billion. There's all kinds of different, market reports out there. They have different ways in which they size the market, right? And so what's the total available market? What's your product available market? All that stuff.
But we're hearing right now, it's in the range of between 4 and 6 billion right now.
Yes, right at the moment. And it's supposed to climb up into the high 20s.
Yep. Okay,
and those are kind of old reports. I've seen other reports actually hit the 50s. And I was just talking to a couple guys maybe 3-4 weeks ago, and we were kind of looking at it, and they were saying they were reading reports where it's the next $1 trillion market. Now, I really think that those numbers are obtainable if it's let out of the bag and it becomes a consumer-based product. If it's kept really close from the regulation side, it's still into the multi-billion-dollar market, probably 50, 60 billion. So we're basically on that road, and there's going to be all the ships are rising with the tide. So this is why we do what we do, right?
And again, that same report that was saying, the last report I read said it's a $6 billion industry worldwide,
right?
Probably between 4 and 5, in more concentrated areas. But that's growing to 26 billion now by the year 2025. So in the next 5 years.
So yeah, you got to be in on that train. I mean, like I say, all boats are rising with the tide.
Yeah, let's go.
And, let's go.
Take advantage of that. And, those of you who are in startup, one of the biggest things is funding.
Yeah.
These are the things you need to know and convey with confidence to your bank, to the SBA, to the USDA, to investors, to private investors, private money. There's a lot of options for you to get funding.
Right. Friends and family.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of these guys
But you have to be confident in how you convey your belief in this industry, because it has to be catching. It has to be contagious. You've got to do that.
Now let's talk about risk. Okay, so you have the market risk.
No.
Are we going to go to this huge market? There's a risk in not knowing.
There's always
that, okay?
risk.
There's always risk. There's ups and downs in the market. Then there's operational risk. There's
absolutely,
there's like business risk is what they call it. Are you able to really are you able to take and start up a business and then run that business, get a product out that people will purchase, and then also win in the marketplace? So there's all your layered risk, one on top of another. Okay?
Absolutely.
And with each one of those, like within an operation, there's a lot of different risk, like quality risk, regulatory risk, technical risk. There's all these different risks, okay? And what your investor is going to do is they're going to say, is he able to manage all that risk?
Yes, absolutely.
That's exactly what he's going to do.
Well, and it's not even, do you have the emotional fortitude and the perseverance to get through those elements of risk?
Right.
Because there's ups and downs in every startup. I mean, you're going to have that. And you're going to hit the wall and you're going to go, oh, why the hell am I doing this? But you just keep going. You've got a whole team here. When you're in the business, you're part of our family. That's how we feel.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so, get us, ask questions, and let's get you over that hump.
Apply the rule of two.
Apply the rule of two. I like that.
It's the Johnny T rule of two.
The Johnny T rule of two. So tell them what the rule of two is.
The rule of two is going to take you twice as long and twice as much money as you think. And it's pretty much our law.
The rule of two.
The rule of two.
Yeah, and it is. And even when you're projecting, cut everything in half. That's
cut all that in half. Cut your projections in half. Double the amount that you take, and double the amount of the time. And I think you probably be right on the money.
And you won't be disappointed because
when I made back in 2014, we were trying to raise money for United Science. Okay, did I tell you about this?
No,
okay, I did projections out to 2020.
Yes,
we are to the dollar. Yeah.
He's good.
That was the rule of two.
Rule of two.
Rule of two.
Going to take you twice as long with double the money.
Yes, exactly. So,
that's what you want to do. But you have to make sure that you understand each element and that you convey that.
Yeah.
It's got to be contagious.
Right.
And it's not, okay, so the other side of this, when you're managing risk, you think you need to be all buttoned up and, it's not. If you're just talking numbers, if you're just in this for the mercenary side of it, you won't succeed.
No, that's probably true, because you won't be able to raise any money because nobody will believe in you, because you're just talking.
You can't. Also, you can't just be the zealot. You can't just be all emotion, because they're not going to invest in you either, because you have no business acumen. Right. They don't trust you. They're like, okay, he's a dreamer.
Right.
And there's a lot of dreamers. Love dreamers, but you've got to find that balance of both, and you got to turn it on depending on who your audience is.
Yep.
But the reality is, in each of these elements that we're going to be talking about today, you need to understand it. You need to understand how to profit from it, and what is the technical side of it. What is the emotional side of it? Why, what's the purist side almost?
Yep.
And then how do you make money? Okay.
Right.
And the reality is where those three circles interconnect.
You're right.
Is the sweet spot.
Right.
All right. And that's where you're going to make money. And that's solving problems, solving the issues that people are seeking answers for.
Right.
Right?
So let's begin with the end.
Let's go. We're going to begin with the end. I like it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. Look. Okay. First thing you do, you must know what your products are, right?
Yes.
You have to know what your products are going to be.
You do. Yeah.
Okay. If you don't know what your products are, just make up your products. Okay. Okay. Here, I'm going to sell tinctures. I'm going to sell bulk. I'm going to sell whatever you're going to sell. Okay. Or we're going to be the best. Patch manufacturer on the face of the planet, and we're gonna have CBD. You have to have something that you're going to sell, because in order to do that, then that's going to define what plant you're going to build.
Yes.
It's going to define the types of people you need. It's going to define your business plan from the standpoint of you being able to project your financials.
You have to decide what is the end. Are you going to stop at oil? Are you going to stop at distillate? Are you going to stop at isolate? Are you going to stop at chromatography, custom formulations?
Right.
Or are you going all the way to packaged goods?
Do you have a service model?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different things. So you got to decide where you're going. And, we also subscribe to the crawl, walk, run strategy.
Absolutely.
And you start on one end or the other or in the middle. So there are people, you farmers, you're starting at the very beginning.
Right.
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 But then even there's a beginning, and those are the people who are just producing and geneticizing the seeds.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And the clones.
Yeah.
And then you go all the way to the packaged goods, tinctures, lotions, and
why do you think a farmer would want to get into the business of hemp processing?
Control.
Yeah, absolutely.
Control.
Vertical. It's the vertical, right?
Vertical integration. Because
upgrade your crop.
Yeah, because the reality is it extends the shelf life of their biomass.
Absolutely.
Because biomass has a shelf life, and there's risks with mold and moisture and all of that. And then, but if you get that and distill it, go all the way to crude, right? Winterized oil. Oh my gosh.
There are like co-ops being made, you know, and those are kind of the way to go, I think.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of farmers get together, they all throw in $100,000. They get a plant, they all bring their stuff there, it processes it for them, and then they can, So we're based out of Wisconsin. There's lots of farmer co-ops all over.
Is this an agricultural marketplace?
You think? So yeah.
No, but you are absolutely right. There's a lot of people who are vertically integrating. There's usually one troublemaker who leads the charge, and he's the rabble rouser.
He's got the dollar signs in his eyes.
But you've got
if you apply the rule of two, though, the guy is probably right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. And thank you for being that guy.
Yes, exactly.
In
fact, nothing would ever get done without the dollar signs in the eyes.
We've got a group coming in actually week after next to talk about that exact thing.
That's good.
That happened. So all the way through, but
all right,
balance.
So anyway, we talked about beginning with the end. We talked about risk, and one of the things that we really do is we really help you manage that operational risk and startup risk.
Yes.
So we take that risk. We take it down to really low amounts of risk. Okay, there's always risk, but very, very low. I can't ever say that we eliminate it.
You can't eliminate it,
no.
But what we do is we help you manage those risks.
Yeah.
That is, if you start telling your investor or the bank or anybody that there are no risks, they will never lend money to you because you're a dreamer.
Right, exactly.
It's not true. It's how you manage the risks and that you have a clear understanding of what the risks are.
Right.
Is where you shine.
Right. So let's go to the bioprocessing workflow flow chart. You guys have all seen this raw material all the way through.
That's
to
a very catchy name.
Separations, yes. It's
advanced bioprocessing workflow.
Well, this is the advanced bioprocessing workflow. No, I think it's the nano-enabled. Hang on, the nano-enabled genetics infused advanced bioprocessing workflow schematic.
Did you see? I needed to give him quiet to be able to get through that.
See, if you had the quasi-cystatic, never mind. I can get it for you. We can get all kinds of jargon in there.
Let's jump into the advanced bioprocessing workflow.
Let's do it. Okay.
Yes.
Raw material,
also known as turbocharged hemp.
Yes. Okay. So you guys got basically this starts with biomass.
Yes.
Okay. So we're now talking about bioprocessing. We're not talking about farming. We're talking about bioprocessing, bringing raw material down into the form of products that we can be used in marketed into manufacturing. Yep. So we start off with the raw material, and a lot of business issues are right around that, and a lot of technical issues. The technical issues are very clear. You need to make sure that you have the raw material coming in that's not contaminated, that has the potency that they say it is, and is not a bunch of sticks and stems that costs a lot more to bioprocess. I mean, those are the types of things that people do in terms of putting the right specifications. Can't be full of water. Nope. Can't be full of mold. Nope. It can't be full of metals. Okay, so there are
stones or sticks.
Sticks or stones are never going to break my bones. Something like that. So I mean, a lot of people deal with. Also don't accept any pre-processed material. A lot of people, very unethical actors out there selling, soaking their, materials in ethanol and then selling it off, as that is biohazardous waste.
It's bad.
So you're actually taking that in, you're paying for it. Don't do that. Okay, we've actually had that. Some people tried to sell us that.
Well, and it's done, and that's why we have a quarantine. We talked about that a lot last week. So you've got, you need to make sure that you quarantine. So when you receive that material, you want to make sure that you're not losing money. Okay. Right. So trust but verify. The COA will come in. Right. And okay, so again, the COA can be anything. I've seen COAs that only have tested the absolute flower and the bud, and you're thinking, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be 30% CBD, and wow, this is the best. And then you get it in, it's like 5%. Yeah. Like, oh, okay.
Exactly. When you get the rest of it.
This stuff looks like sawdust. What's going on? Well, we dried it, Really?
Yeah. So just know that if you get that, you can kind of tell because it's going to be 18% plus. Just cut that in half, and that's probably where it actually is.
Yeah.
Like, it's my 50%.
That's
You're
something
the rule
else.
of 2. I'm the rule of 50%.
Well, that's kind of like for the farmers too. Your processor is going to be a lot happy with you if you give him homogenate. Yep. Okay, and then sample that rather than giving him the flour number.
Exactly.
Because if you give them the flour number, they're just going to come back to you and say, "No, this isn't what you say it is." Yeah. So why do that?
Exactly.
Okay, unless it's just there for purposes of understanding, like contaminants and things like that.
But that's why you quarantine. So you bring it in, you get the COA, but then you test yourself, and then that's really when you want to send it out for that third-party test for pesticides, metals, et cetera.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll be able to visually see if there are rocks in it.
Yeah.
Or a lot of seeds.
Yeah, usually you want to, like the quality person typically would have all of those important specifications, accept specifications, and they would be in there, and they would say, okay, check. Okay, great. Okay, now we're ready to go.
And so what did we do? We just listed a whole bunch of risks, and we just told you how to manage those.
Yeah.
That is money.
Money.
Okay.
So
he was going to start singing.
I was going to say, money. It's grind. Okay. Grinding station. Let's kind of skip over. Okay, now you're going to get your material in. It's going to go be ground. Okay. Yep. You're going to grind it up. How are you going to do that?
Chew it.
Well, look, at the end of the day, there's lots of different types of grinding technologies.
Yep.
Just suffice it to say that if you have large amounts, you're going to have to manage all that grounded stuff. So you need someone to engineer a system for you, or you can just, if you're doing something smaller, you don't need to have like a huge grinder, but you have something that sometimes there's always trade-offs to everything, right? Okay, so the better your grinder in terms of the smaller the size, the more uniform particle size, all that stuff, the better your extraction is going to be, and the higher the throughput is going to be. So you may end up getting a $29.95, a grinder. Okay.
Food processor.
Yeah, food processor. Boy,
I've seen those.
I just don't even think that this is going to work. And it's frustrating because you're using a solution that's so cheap that it's not worth doing. Then there's always the $1,000 solution. Then you can go up to the $100,000 solution. And there's in between. There's all.
And we've tried them all.
And we have tried them all.
We've got arrows in our backs.
Some of them are failed. Some of them are not.
But here,
you do get what you pay for.
Oh, you do.
That is, if there's one thing, that's an adage.
Yes,
it is. It's true.
Yeah,
you do get what you pay for.
I mean, is that why you pay me $2.50 a year?
Yes.
He gets what he pays for. Now, just so you know, when you bring in that material for Hemp 101, okay, it comes from the farm, shucked and bucked. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then that's kind of, a big mealy.
Sometimes you can, I think could also be a viable service business. Just saying
that is a good business.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shuck and buck. We have a shuck and bucker. You can put it on a trailer, put a generator on it, and shuck and buck it for people. Yep. So you do 100 acres.
It basically takes the leaves and the buds and the stuff off the big plant, takes it off, puts it in you get that in a super sack. And that's just still a little too big. So you need to grind that before we get to the other. And we use all kinds of different things, and we found that one of the using a Hammermill at that first stage,
right,
we're finding we're doing
Hammermill's great.
Hammermills are awesome. They're not real expensive. You do have to be careful if you're a GMP facility. You've got to make sure you get one that is GMP compliant.
There are issues there, but okay, so let's just kind of go into that. One thing with a Hammermill is it will produce a very large particle size distribution. Okay,
which is good for decarb, but not for extraction.
Well, yeah, okay. You could argue it's not good for anything because you get the dust, okay, and then you have the big particles. Okay, so this is large particle size distribution, but it's effective and it's cheap.
Yes.
Okay, so
yep. And there are different sizes and screens and stuff that you can do and regrind.
Right.
So, but grinding is key.
Yes, grinding's key. And so when you come to us and you say, hey, Johnny T, what I really want to do is create, 50,000 tinctures a month, okay, because I've begun with the end and I know exactly what it is. Good job. Then we can go back, we can calculate all of what the workflow will look like. And and say I want to be able to do this in 3 years. We could build it up for 3 years. So you'd have a workflow for 3 years, or a scale up plant, crawl, walk, run again, sure. Right? So next is vacuum oven decarboxylation. This is the place that you're going to get beautiful terpenes. We've talked about this before. Everybody
those are beautiful terpenes.
They are, and yeah. They're wonderful. Plus, they smell so good. I mean, I think that's a really great place to get the terpenes out. Is in that from the vacuum oven. It's vacuum oven distillation, or it's vacuum distillation, or whatever you want to call it.
I call it the activation lab.
It definitely is. You can get it. You can get terpenes out in the raw material, and that's called like live resin, right? And that's very popular. Mm-hmm. Where they just they squish it between two hot plates, okay, and then they get live resin out, and it's very terpene. It's very very fresh. It smells really good. I think that this terpenes here is the closest thing that you're going to get to the live resin. Yep. Because when you try to get the terpenes out anywhere else downstream, you're talking about process of a process of a process of a process, right? Yep. So that's a really great place to do it. And we have
and they get
options
bitter.
For you.
They get bitter.
They get bitter. They get dark. Terpenes are not all equal in the sense of desirability. Right. Okay, so not all terpenes. Okay, so really what you want is the stable terpenes. And there are terpenes there that are highly reactive, so that are not desirable from aroma.
And from a Hemp 101 perspective, decarb actually activates the level of THC, even the minor amounts, and it activates the cannabinoids inside there as well.
So that right there is a V mixer. We use those.
Is that Kevin? Looks like Kevin.
Yeah, that's Kevin. Kevin's awesome.
Yes.
He is the best. Okay,
he really is.
So that is a vacuum oven, and you can also use a small piece of equipment like this if you have a smaller facility. Right around 1 ton is where you're going to really kind of switch over, I think, and it makes a lot of sense to go. And some people, for convenience purposes, will want to get a V mixer. Yep. So.
And by the way, that's the one we keep threatening to put popcorn in.
Yes, that's the Gemco. So Gemco is the corporation that makes that, and so we have been doing those. So anyway, let's kind of move on to the next step, and that would be extraction. Extraction. Okay, so we have talked about this, for a long time. But fundamentally, when you extract your raw material, you're going to have the right people. You're going to have the right equipment. You're going to have to make sure that it's not costing so much as to be, not viable, right? Mm. So those are the things that you need to be thinking about with your extraction facility. A lot of times people want to build out their extraction facility so they can just bring in more equipment as they scale up to start off small.
Sure. Yep.
Okay, there's 3-4 stations there. Okay, I'm going to be doing a ton a day in X amount of time, and so that's basically extraction and what it is. I think the business of that, we have calculators online.
We do,
and you can go to the calculators and check it out. Oh, wait, just a second.
For that technical break?
Yeah. We never have technical issues here.
Well, okay. I do in my brain all the time.
Okay, I think we're good to go, guys. Right?
We're good to go.
Sweet.
All right. Love it.
Whoa. Did you hear that?
I did hear
Silence. That was dead air. That's what they call that.
Is that? Wow.
dead air.
I get that in my brain all the time. Dead air. Deer in the headlights.
I'm not going to comment. Okay. Okay. So extraction. I'm surprised you didn't have any comments on that.
No, no, because I'm still eyeballing that muffin over there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. Dewaxing. Let's move on. I just think, just suffices to say, okay, CO2 is the boss. Okay. I'm just gonna say it. It's the boss.
It is the boss.
The reason it's the boss, okay, technically it's a little bit, it's more challenging than taking some Everclear and sticking it into a bottle and shaking it up. Okay.
I have kind of these weird memories of having tasted something like that. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it was
a traumatic experience. I think he made me taste
a little bit warm. Okay. A little bit warm on the tongue.
Bottoms up.
Okay. All right.
Sorry. Yes, CO2
but
is the
CO2
bomb.
is the bomb because
CO2 is just bubbles.
Yeah, it's bubbles. It's safe. It's effective. It's clean, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to actually run for multiple years. Okay,
Yeah.
so
your operating costs are
your equipment
bomb.
Yeah, your equipment will be more, but your operating costs are going to be a lot less. It's just a fact. So done and done. You know, you're going to be. You're setting yourself up for the future of future profitability, essentially.
Absolutely, and we have the calculators out there on yearly operating costs, and we do ethanol versus CO2 yearly operating costs. Use those.
Yeah, use them.
You can build half of your pro forma for the bank and for your investors off of that calculator.
There is a pro forma calculator on there.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got, a lot of people have.
It's yearly operating costs is what we call it.
One of the things people call us, they call us because they want to get.
What do they call us?
In the past, they would call us to try to get information for their pro forma.
Yes.
All the time. Okay.
All the time.
Can you give me this? I need this yield. I need this. Okay. Look, it's all in the calculators now. It's all there.
It's there.
You go, and if you have an assumption that you need to clarify, that's when you should call us. And I'm really surprised. There are some hidden assumptions, a couple of them that I put in there.
You did.
No one has asked me yet.
Oh, they ask me all the time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Thanks for that.
They have asked you.
So find those, and I'm guessing Jared might be able to.
Oh, yeah. The hidden assumption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the hidden assumptions? So if you can find the hidden assumptions in our calculators, there's swag for you.
Right, exactly. All right, so let's go on to the drain Droyd dewaxing filtration.
Okay. Love it.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that is a process by which you would dewax. Okay, and you really need to do that before you go into your distillate because the waxes are not so hot in the distillate side of it. So you need to dewax it. It's an easier process. We use ethanol to dewax, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh." They're using ethanol. What are they talking about? Because they just told me that ethanol is not very good for using it for extraction. Exactly.
Well, no.
All of those two things can be absolutely true at the same time. True. So yes, we use ethanol in that process. It's just we use a lot less. There's a very, very small amount. We have FAQs that you can read on how much you would use of ethanol in your dewaxing versus ethanol in your extraction. They're not even in the same ballpark.
Food grade, medical grade, organic grade ethanol is not evil.
No, it's not.
Denatured ethanol.
I don't know. It's just not. It shouldn't be deployed.
Evil.
Yes, it's evil.
Yes. Denatured. Don't use denatured ever. And again,
don't give butane lighters to kids, right? Or in a box of matches and hatchets. Okay, that's kind of the way I look at it. It's just
I'm just remembering my childhood.
It was so much fun, wasn't it?
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Start that on fire. Okay. Things haven't changed. I mean, but kids still like matches and boxes and
hatchets. And you said hatchets.
Okay, off the beaten path. You remember those little snakes that used to get?
Oh yeah,
those were so great.
Those were.
You would put them on there, and then you'd light them, and they would just they would grow and everything. Oh, that was.
You never want to do them in your hand and then light them.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. No.
I have done that.
You remember those little things, those little white bags of things you'd throw at people, and they would snap like that. Snaps.
Snappers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was kind of cool too.
That is fun.
Yeah.
That is fun.
Okay, so now we digressed.
Yes.
But
that's okay. If you've got any childhood memories of those kinds of things, let us know, because those are things that we love to experiment with.
Yes.
Those might be a future, R&D lab item.
How about, light off all the weird fireworks that we have in our repertoire. I mean, you have to admit, okay, the other thing that just came up from, speaking of childhood, you remember those little camp gun things?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're little red, and they circle, and you put them in there, and they snap, and there's all the smoke and stuff.
Yeah.
That was always pretty cool.
Those are cool.
Yeah.
And that little roll, and you'd get it.
That was so much fun. We used to take the whole roll, and you put it on the cement, and then you hit the whole thing with a hammer. Bam, and you get a really big.
That's a big.
Yeah.
Wow.
That works out good.
Yeah, but you've got some unsnapped snaps, and then you take all the time to find the ones that didn't get snapped.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. And then you go back and hit them one by one. My suggestion there is, anyone wants to try that, okay, just you don't use a hammer with like a serrated cross on the top, because it doesn't do so. You got to have a smooth head on the hammer, so when you hit it, it's
or a ball peen that has the round head, but then you got to hit it just right.
Right on the that's a little. You got to be more accurate with that one. So, okay, crude oil and ethanol solutions. We're moving on from that, but suffice it to say that that's a part of something that you're going to have to know how to do. And at this point, this is when people are like, geez, I don't really know how to do all this stuff. What am I going to do? Am I going to get training? What kinds of people do I need? Because, all this stuff, they start to ask all these questions. Well, we can help you answer all those questions. In other words, we can put together like a head count plan for you, for example, as a function of how much you're going to be doing.
And that's in the calculator online. It gives you, how many people are you going to need?
Yeah.
Roughly.
And they always ask, okay, should I get a scientist, or should I get a technologist, or what do I need at a very minimum? Okay, first thing you need to have is an accountant.
A salesperson.
And a salesperson. Okay, yeah.
The opposite ends of those spectrums.
Yes.
Remember the first part of the conversation?
Right.
Yep, sorry.
We can train your technical people, or we can even train people who are, can work with their hands.
Absolutely.
I think we're looking for people with mechanical aptitude. Sometimes what happens if you go out and you try to find people out in the marketplace, and they have one particular way they've done it, they have lots of bad habits.
Oh, yeah.
And because they're in different areas, and sometimes, and some people may have been successful in one area with a very narrow focus, and then now they're trying to do the whole thing, and then they're trying to put together in a Frankenstein sort of way an entire flow, and they've never done it before. You're gonna that takes the risk and brings it way up.
Absolutely.
Lots of failure.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, just ask the accountant.
Absolutely.
Because he's going to be looking at the business, the actual business of how you're running the place. And
there's a difference between capital investment and operation expense. Okay. Mm-hmm. So capital expense is how much does it cost for your facility, for your equipment. And those are the things you need to invest in, or lease the building. You can lease the equipment, whatever. But then you also have your daily operating expenses, the costs for running. And even though, like a CO2, you mentioned CO2 extraction is a little more expensive for that equipment than the ethanol equipment, but your operating costs are so vastly lower running CO2 than ethanol. It's crazy. You mentioned earlier about, that we use very little bit of ethanol.
Right.
What is a rule of thumb you would need to run ethanol or extract with ethanol?
Well, 10 to 1, 10 gallons for 1 pound. Is
10 gallons of ethanol
6
for
to
1
10,
pound.
and most people use 10. So this is what I've heard. In the
if you've got an idea of what that is, let us know, because
yeah.
because it's going to be a range.
On our calculators, it's a range. You can just put in whatever you'd like.
Is that one of the hidden assumptions?
No, it's in there.
Oh, I thought I won something.
Yeah.
Dang it. So that gives you an idea. And the cost for ethanol, again, we've talked about that in the past, is still somewhere north of $30 for food grade ethanol. Right. And so that's per gallon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what does it cost for a gallon of CO2?
Right. I mean, yeah, it's a gallon of CO2. Actually, a pound of CO2 is about 4 cents.
Okay.
And a pound of ethanol, say about, $5, $6. So
yeah, I always get the volume and mass.
I have to do this stuff around. So.
But anyway, that's crazy. So that again is how you're going to make money, is by focusing on what your operational costs are.
Okay, but that's not the only cost that's really important here. And this is where people really start to shake their head, and this is where the accountants come in. They are going to be focusing on the inventory, because the inventory is really that's where all your cash is going to be.
That's where you wonder where the cash went and where it is. It's sitting in inventory throughout your process.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, that's not on your income statement.
No.
Okay, it's an expense.
Yep.
That doesn't hit your income statement, so you can't deduct it.
And it's not like inventory is there. It's a WIP. It's a work in progress.
Yes, it's WIP. It's on your inventory. So you're paying, essentially you're paying, you're paying for that, and you're not getting any business deduction for it.
Yep.
So that's why a lot of people at the end of the year, they have write-downs and things like that. But when you look at this workflow that we're showing you here, you really need to. It's more than just, okay, what equipment am I going to put together? Yeah. If I have a guy who's just never put it all together before and hasn't looked at it from the standpoint of inventory, hasn't lived it out in terms of operating cost, hasn't paid the bills, hasn't actually doesn't have information and is trying to figure out what to do upstream and downstream, then you do need help. You need help for people who know how to do that. And I would say that we've been doing this for a long time. We're always evolving.
Always. And
it's always kind of getting better and better and better, and we're learning things. So it's not like you can take, and we have an entire team.
Yeah.
20 people working on this full time. So keep that in mind, guys. I mean, we're here to help you. So that's the
and we're an R&D facility. That's what we call ourselves here, because we process so that we can solve more problems for you, and then we convey that information to you.
Right.
That's what we do.
So moving on then to the overall, hey, look, I got a lot of people have a lot of solvent that they have to remove, and this is across many industries. But if you are doing ethanol, for example, you need to remove all that solvent. If you're doing drain droids, if you're doing any kind of a non-polar process, you're going to have some way to remove the solvents in a safe way. So the FracTron really it fills that bill.
Huge.
And it does a great job, and it's like nothing else on the market. And it's kind of like stuff that we do,
It is.
Nothing else on the market is like that. It's a 3-stage, independently addressable temperature and pressure. It's under vacuum. It's under CO2 counterflow. Nobody does this stuff, okay? Nobody does this stuff. And it's super efficient, and it gives you a lot of flexibility to take out a lot of fluids without having to do multiple runs again and again and again and again. A lot of the people out there have built small pieces of equipment, and they say, okay, well, this equipment will run at 100 gallons per minute, but you have to do it like 3-4 times. Yeah. Okay, what's the point of that? Yeah. So when we make equipment for ourselves and in our own use, and then also for our customers, we want to make sure that everything's working together, properly. Yeah,
absolutely. And that is the biggest bottleneck that comes up, is if you're using rotary evaporators for that solvent removal.
Right.
It's slow.
Right.
Very, very slow.
Right. So a lot of people are using these falling films.
Yep.
And they're finding out, okay, well, hey, this plugs up, or hey, I have to do it 3 times in order to get it, or I have to do post decarboxylation and all this stuff. So it's not as clean as, okay, roll in this piece of equipment and it removes it as all for me. So the FracTron is close. I think you can really do a lot of things with it. So and you can configure it. So
and again, it'll flow through 20 to 40 gallons.
Yeah.
An hour.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And it'll go
all in a single pass. I mean, one pass, right?
So it's a little more expensive for CapEx,
right?
But your flow through, no bottleneck. You're going to be able to just fly. And that's huge. It cost savings for operations is giant.
Right.
Just using this. And this FracTron, it's good integrated system with all of our other gear. But we've got a lot of ethanol plants looking for FracTron because they've got to remove a lot of solvent.
Yeah, it's a distillation tower times 3. Only they're independent of, there are 3 independent stages.
Exactly.
So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Okay, Clearstill. That's basically distillation. We've talked a lot about this. We have podcasts on this. We have podcasts on the FracTron. Go. We'll put the podcast in the notes.
Solvent removal. Yep.
Yeah, and we've done a lot on distillation as well.
Yep.
We've looked at what the difference is between different types of distillate. Like broad spectrum and.
Yep.
And just full spectrum and
moving to
using
isolate.
an ethanol, right, isolate and all of that. So that's a part of the flow. You're going to have to know how to do it. Of course, training wise, we train all your people. We get you up and running on that. So yeah, that's that.
Good. Well, so we've got evaporation, distillation, and the distillation again with Clearstill. We have found that with a lot of you out there are considering like single stage. You're going to need 2 of them.
Oh, yeah,
needs
right.
to run 2 or 3 times. Yeah. I mean, you got to pass that.
Right.
And the Clearstill is a 2-stage.
Right.
Wipe film technology, which is awesome. And we're finding that running through that, our yield is not only faster, but our yield is up 20 to 30%.
Yeah, I know. Like I said, I don't know why.
That is amazing. Talk about a revenue profit margin. You increase your yield by 20 to 30%. Holy shit.
I think it's just the way we do our vacuum. I think that's the main thing that really helps out a lot. I mean, it basically pulls it through, and we can maintain a lower vacuum in the still itself. Yeah. So for you techies out there, that's I think the reason.
So you can sell crude oil, winterized oil.
Yeah.
You can sell distillate, which would be the full spectrum or broad spectrum.
There's
distillate.
a beautiful picture of that. I think.
Very nice.
Yeah, look at that. Isn't
That's
it beautiful?
Good.
Just looking so good. And there's a picture of our Clearstill.
That looks pretty.
Those are the 2.
Looks pretty boss.
It is boss.
That's pretty.
Cool. Like you need to. A lot of these systems that are out there, they're completely manual.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to be able to run a method and control a method and make sure that it's not changed by your chemists who want to change things all the time. You know what I mean? So that's tweak. Well, why are you tweaking that method? It's doing pretty good. Well, that's what we do.
Yeah. I need to justify my time.
Okay,
so I got to push buttons.
So yeah, that's how that rolls. So
very nice.
There's another one right there.
Look
at that. Beautiful, that picture.
Yeah.
We need to get more. We were doing a bunch of pour videos. And people love those. And I love them.
P-O-U-R.
Yeah, pour. Yeah,
not
so
P-O-O-R.
you would heat up.
We do really boss videos.
Yeah,
right, James?
Heat up some distillate, and then you just pour it. And you're like, wow, that doesn't look good. That's absolutely the case.
And so over time, that jar of distillate, right?
Right.
What happens when it's no longer warm?
Okay, so this is CBD, so this will be, over 50% potent for sure. And it's the reason you can see it kind of riding up on the edge here of the jar is just simply because it's it's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah. And so when this thing cools down, it will start to precipitate. And what's really cool, we got to do this, James, is a heat one up and then put a time-lapse camera on it and watch it. We should do a bunch of those. We got to do that. Yeah. Can we do that?
We watch it crystallize.
James says he's going to do that. Yeah, and we should watch it crystallize.
Good, James. Virtual high five.
I thought that, that GoPro that I had, I bet you, I think that it's on one of those little discs. I did one of those. We should just check it out and just see if we can find that. So
but we have to have it well lit up from behind.
Yeah, he will do it professional.
Cool.
Yeah, I just put something in front of there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Professionalism is better. Okay. We'll let James do that.
I love it.
Okay. But we should do that. Anyway, this will crystallize out. So
those are rotovaps in the background, by the way.
They are.
Those are rotary evaporators.
You can see all the dark stuff in there. That's that's all the wax and stuff. Okay. You see this? So this will start to crystallize out in there. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that's a little crystal. No, that's probably the jar.
Some scoring on the jar.
But it kind of looked like a crystal inside there. That's what it looks like. It starts to grow in the middle. And
looks like
why
somebody
is that crystallizing there in the middle? And then you come the next day, and it's completely opaque. Like overnight,
it's like the alcohol bottles at home when you're growing up. Your parents market the bottle to make sure. Yeah. And the next time they drink it, they're like, this tastes a little watered down.
Tastes a little watered down.
Well, I had to get it back up to the line. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so here we go. Yeah, that is that. That's the beauty of distillate. And everybody likes distillate. They like it. It's full spectrum. A lot of people want to know, okay, do we have full spectrum, and where do we use that? And why would we want to use a full spectrum distillate, and what is full spectrum distillate? Okay.
We did do a whole show.
We did that.
FSD, BSD.
One thing, just the Cliff Note version then is, hey, full spectrum distillate can have full spectrum of cannabinoids. It will also have, less than 0.3 THC, right?
Yep.
And you can add those gorgeous terps in there to make it true full spectrum, and that's where really I think that's where you get the entourage effect, plus the effect of the minor cannabinoids, plus the effect of the CBD itself, all together into a natural concoction that then could be put into a tincture. And a lot of people like
full, beautiful entourage effect.
Right.
That you get all of the health benefits that you hear about from CBD that people want to enjoy from that. That's how you get all of that.
Right. And, so a lot of people are like, okay, well, why would I ever use isolate then? Well, a lot of people don't like the taste.
That's true.
And so they're like, oh, I'm not going to take that because it's not tasting good. So like
the biggest growing market for CBD products are boomers.
Yeah.
People over 60, and they're terrified that the CBD will make them high.
Right. And so if it tastes like hemp or whatever, they're like, oh, this is going to make me high. I'm not going to do this anymore.
And they don't want it.
Yeah. So you can get the benefits, and if it's formulated properly and if you take it properly, you will have good bioavailability. And if you have good bioavailability, it's going to get into your system and have its effects. So, that's just the thing. So it's a trade-off, just like anything else.
Yep.
But, some people just will not eat or imbibe anything that tastes or even has a hint of hemp, or because they think it's marijuana, it's going to make them high.
But it is good, and part of that education is saying, all right, if there's the 0.3 THC, that's the level. At least that's domestic. That's in North America. In Europe, it's 0.2, and in Asia, it's 0.1.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's really difficult.
So you got to make sure where you're selling and how you're selling. Those are things to consider as well. But what happens is the THC will open up the receptors in your brain and throughout your body and in your cells to accept the cannabinoids that are there, and that full entourage of the benefits of the terpenes as well will get into your system. But you need that opening that the THC provides. That's at least what I read.
Right. Sounds good.
Yeah. And I stayed in the Holiday Inn Express.
All right.
Once.
All right.
Okay.
So, and this is where, you have a workflow process, and you get into isolation, you get into separations. Those are advanced processes for making your, different kinds of broad spectrum or isolate. And
we were talking about full versus broad, and really broad spectrum is the same stuff as full spectrum without with non-detectable THC. Correct?
Right.
So that's it. And then you go into the isolate, which is just all CBD.
Right, exactly. Going back to the question on evaporation, evaporation, the FracTron, it does a really great job. I mean, it'll go down to 5,000 ppm or less of ethanol. So just to let you know that's kind of like a standard benchmark if you think about it.
5,000 parts per million, so that's tiny.
Yeah, it's very, very low. And yes, you can use it for decarb in the third vessel. Okay, the third extractors there, the third vessel there. Okay. So, just to answer some of those questions there, So isolate is a process that people are still really working out. Typically, people use nonpolar solvents for that, so you have to have a way to remove the solvent. FracTron's a really great way to do that. And I mean. Personally, we don't use it for the standpoint of you cannot get a organic isolate because of that process, because of that. So, of course, a lot of people who are doing research and things like that, they're trying to work out a way to get it so that it would be organic. I think that would be a really awesome thing, because you can get organic distillate, you can get organic crude, you can get organic raw materials, but you really are not able to get organic isolate, despite the fact that people are selling organic isolate.
Yeah, which is...
it's not. They're not going to pass their. If they had a USDA certificate, they wouldn't pass it.
It wouldn't happen.
No, unless if they actually did the audit. So that's that's what's happening there. Yeah. So then and then we got the separation side. We did a whole thing on that,
on chromatography.
Yes. And you're really looking at broad spectrum there. And again, these are the feedstocks for your end products.
Right.
So your broad spectrum, your isolate, your distillate, give you feedstocks, and then you're really going to have to look at your packaging. This is something that we haven't really talked about. It's probably a good topic for us in the future. There are innumerable headaches in the packaging world, and a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm going to buy this from China, or I'm going to buy this from this particular supplier, and they don't have specifications. They don't know anything about, how to really specify it. And they're like, oh, okay. They come out. Good example was all the, vapor pens that have been out on the market. A lot of them leak. You know what I mean? So you got, you have a whole, you make up 1,000 of them, something like that. They sit on the shelf, and then, they're waiting to go. They get shipped out, and then you start getting returns because
they leak.
Because they're leaking. Yes. So not all pens are equal. You get what you pay for, guys. So if you're going to pay 30 cents for one of them, expect them to leak, basically. But there's a lot of other things there that you need to think about relative to the materials and what's in those things. What we should do maybe is, do some autopsies on some old ones.
That sounds like a fun.
We should do that.
Fun show.
Look at the coils in there, difference in coils and ceramics and stuff like that. But look, whether you're talking about your tincture bottles...
That would be almost as fun as dissecting a frog, I think.
We will do that. It'll be fun.
Dissect a frog?
No, we're gonna dissect it. We're gonna dissect it. We'll get little pins and everything.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
The anatomy. Okay, so a tincture bottle's a tincture bottle, right?
Yeah.
Wrong.
No.
Wrong. Okay, like a vapor pen is a vapor pen, right? No, it's not. There's more to it than
I thought
just...
somebody was like sneaking up on me.
No, I was kind of looking at our products over there, and I was thinking, nope, there it is right there. So, okay. Yeah, so that's something you need to think of also in your business.
We should do more packaging. I like that idea.
We'll do more packaging ones. They're coming up, of course.
This was an awesome show.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right.
I love this presentation, the advanced bioprocessing workflow and walking. I hope this is helpful for you.
Yeah.
Hemp Startup 101. This was really good. We wanted to show you from, how the technical works and how the system and process goes, and, what solutions you're bringing at each step of the way so that you have an understanding of that, and then how you make money solving those problems at each step.
Right.
So I think I think we did that.
Yeah, I think we did that.
Good job.
Success.
And questions are in. We tried to answer a lot of them as we were conversing here. Right. Keep asking the questions. We love that. We're all good. And then what we're going to do is, I appreciate all of your questions being here. And again, introduce yourself. Keep going. There will be a replay, so don't hesitate with that.
Right.
Thank you again to Tim Brubaker, who won last week. That's good. The resources, all of these calculator stuff are on our website.
Yeah.
extraktLAB.com. See, we should make that a sound thing.
We could.
That would be cool. All right. And the live demos will be cool. So check those out.
Yeah.
There might be a reward for some live demo that we do.
Yeah. We're putting them up there, and we have most all of them done. So there's two different varieties. There's the live demo, in front of it, and then there's also the ones where you can just go, and it's like a tour. I guess it's a product tour would be the better way to think about it.
Okay, there you go. So we're happy to do that. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the questions. Appreciate you being here. Next week we did talk about doing a show on Delta 8, and we also talked about the fact that the IGW lab and the process flow of all of these gets managed that way. So we were going to talk about the paperless workflow.
That's all on deck.
It's all on deck. So that'll be in the next couple of shows. So be there or be square.
Yeah,
we're good. Thank you again. Live tour. Schedule your CBD jam sessions. Talk to our bot. Stump our bot.
Yep.
And, you know, our guys are there ready to answer all of your questions. The calculator library, mini courses, everything are there. And we will see you next week. Share this with your friends. Bring people in. We love having you. Subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah.
And we're good.
All right.
So thank you. Appreciate it.
Take
Good
care.
job.
Are we off?
No, we're hot mic. Hot mic. It's always a hot
I
mic.
gotta get the coffee. I was like, oh man,
I offered.
I need some. Yeah, I know.
I offered.
Look,
You
I
said,
was just
no,
kind
I
of
don't
sipping
need
it. I'm
more
like,
coffee.
I don't
Hell no, I don't need more coffee.
Oh boy, that was good.